Welcome, everyone. Today, we are going deep, really deep, into something I think you'll find fascinating.
It's something we all have, this innate, almost hidden ability to heal.
Yeah, and we're going to look at it through the lens of Buddhist philosophy.
With some insights from psychology, motivation, philosophy, and inspiration, too.
We're going to try to take the core of what Buddhist teachings say about healing and give you some really practical takeaways.
So you can put it to work in your own life.
Right. It all starts with shifting our view of the body. Like, what if instead of seeing it as this fragile machine that breaks down,
We started to see it as this intelligent system that's constantly striving to heal itself.
and Buddhist thought really emphasizes this idea.
Yeah, it sees the body not just as this physical thing, but as deeply connected to our mind and to the natural world.
And that connection, that's what allows for healing to happen.
Exactly.
Think about it, you get a cut, and your body just knows how to fix it.
You don't have to consciously tell it what to do.
Right. Or when you're cold, you shiver without even thinking about it.
That's your body's intelligence at work.
And Buddhist teachings say this goes even deeper, that even suffering, whether it's physical or emotional,
It's not a fixed state.
but something that can change through awareness.
To understanding.
Which brings us to this really interesting point. Buddhist philosophy sees the body, mind, and environment as all interconnected.
Not separate, but as constantly influencing each other.
And this is something that modern science is starting to back up, you know?
Yeah, like the field of psychoneuroimmunology. It's basically showing how our thoughts and emotions can actually affect our immune system.
So it's not just this mystical idea, it's real biology.
Absolutely.
So how do we actually tap into this healing power? How do we awaken it within ourselves?
Well, Buddhist tradition uses this really interesting framework, the 4 elements.
Earth, water, fire, air.
Right. And they're not meant to be taken literally.
Not like the elements on the periodic table.
Exactly. They're more like symbols representing different energies or functions that exist both within us and in the world around us.
Okay, let's start with Earth then. What does that represent?
Earth is all about stability, grounding, nourishment, the physical body.
Okay.
It's also tied to the food we eat.
Like how we're literally taking in the earth to nourish ourselves.
Exactly. Even something as simple as walking barefoot, which monks do.
Seems kind of random.
But it's actually a way to connect with the Earth's energy.
And there's even some science that suggests earthing can help reduce inflammation.
And even balance stress hormones.
Interesting.
So a really simple healing practice related to Earth could be just spending more time in nature.
Getting your hands dirty in the garden.
Walking barefoot on the grass.
Feeling the texture of a tree.
Yeah. And of course, being mindful of what you're eating. Choosing foods that actually nourish you.
Makes sense. Okay, so what about water? What does that symbolize?
Water represents flow. It's about purification, emotions, the way our body cleanses itself internally.
Okay.
And in Buddhist thought, stagnant water, it's like suppressed emotions.
Interesting. So if you're holding on to things, not letting go, it's like that water that gets murky and unhealthy.
Yeah, and monks often practice mindful drinking and water rituals to cultivate that sense of internal flow.
And even from a purely physical standpoint, we know dehydration can really mess with you.
It can affect your mood, your energy levels, even how clearly you think.
It's huge.
So a healing practice related to water is definitely about staying hydrated, but it's also about letting your emotions flow.
Journaling can be a great way to do that.
We're talking to someone you trust.
Even meditation can help you observe those emotions without judgment and just let them move through you.
Right.
All right, next up we have fire. That sounds intense.
Fire is all about energy, transformation, metabolism.
Vitality.
Yeah.
That inner drive we all have.
Yeah, and it's interesting, in Buddhist rituals, fire is often used for purification.
Like burning away the old to make space for the new.
Exactly.
And I think it's interesting to contrast that with how many people live today. Very sedentary lifestyles.
Which can really dampen that inner fire.
Yeah. Lead to feeling sluggish, low energy.
Exactly. Now, monks, they often incorporate movement into their practice.
Like walking meditations.
Right. Things to keep that energy flowing.
And there's so much science showing how important regular movement is for our health.
Increases circulation, reduces inflammation, helps your body repair itself.
So to bring that fire element into your life, think about incorporating some movement into your day.
Doesn't have to be a crazy workout.
Could be some stretching,
A walk in nature.
even just some deep breathing exercises to get things moving.
Right.
Okay, so the last element is air. What's that all about?
Air represents breath. the life force.
Okay.
And it's really seen as the bridge between our physical body and our mind.
Okay.
And in Buddhist meditation, there's this practice called anapanasati, which is all about conscious breathing.
It's amazing how much we take our breath for granted.
Yeah, and when we're stressed or anxious, what
Our
happens?
breathing gets all shallow and fast.
Exactly. And that actually deprives our bodies of the oxygen and energy they need.
It's crazy how that works.
But the opposite is true too. When we breathe deeply and slowly.
It activates the parasympathetic nervous system.
Right, which is like your body's rest and digest mode.
It helps counter the effects of stress and can even boost your immune system.
There's tons of research on this. Deep breathing can lower blood pressure, improve digestion, even reduce pain.
Really powerful stuff.
So, taking a few moments each day for some deep conscious breaths, that's a simple but incredibly effective healing practice.
It really can make a big difference in how you feel.
Absolutely.
So we've been talking about the body's innate ability to heal itself, but there's another crucial piece to this puzzle.
The mind.
Right. And how our mental state can really impact our physical health.
Buddhist teachings really emphasize this.
They talk about the need to let go of things that no longer serve us, especially in our minds.
Because when we hold on to stress, negative thoughts,
All that mental clutter.
it can actually block our body's ability to heal.
It's like we're creating obstacles.
Exactly. And when we can quiet that mental chatter, we create space for healing to happen.
There's actually a term for that, right? The healing power of stillness.
Right. And in a world that's so constantly noisy and busy.
Silence can seem almost radical.
Yeah. But in Buddhist practice, silence isn't emptiness, it's fullness.
It's this space where deep healing can occur.
And monks, they often go on silent retreats to allow their nervous systems to reset and de-stress.
And again, science supports this. Studies show that practices like mindfulness meditation, or even just spending time in nature, can activate the parasympathetic nervous system.
Which is all about repair, digestion, and boosting your immunity.
So a healing practice you can try right now is just 10 minutes of daily silence.
Find a quiet spot, close your eyes, and just observe your thoughts without judgment.
Just let them come and go.
Ah,
It's like giving your mind and your body a chance to reset.
exactly.
Now, earlier you mentioned our breath as being this silent medicine within us.
Right.
And in Buddhism, breath is seen as this sacred connection between our body and mind.
It's a constant reminder of our vitality.
It's amazing to think about how differently monks breathe compared to how we tend to breathe in our everyday lives.
Shallow and rushed.
Yeah, and by controlling our breath, we can actually control our mind and body.
And science has really confirmed this. Deep breathing increases oxygen in the blood, improves circulation, even changes our brain chemistry for the better.
It can lower blood pressure, reduce pain, even boost your immune system.
Yeah, there's this simple breathing technique you can try. Inhale through your nose for a count of 4, hold for 4, and exhale through your mouth for 6 to 8.
And just repeating that for a few minutes can have a huge calming effect.
Exactly.
So we've talked about stillness, we've talked about breath, but there's another really interesting piece to this.
Yeah, the idea of reprogramming the body through the mind.
Buddhist teachings really emphasize this, right?
Yeah.
That our physical body often reflects the state of our mind.
Right. It's like every thought we have, every belief, every emotion, it sends signals throughout our system that can impact our physical health.
It's so powerful.
And this explains why people with the same health conditions can have such different outcomes. Their mental and emotional approach plays a big role.
It's like the placebo effect, right?
Yeah.
Where believing in a treatment, even if it's not actually doing anything physically, can actually trigger a healing response.
Exactly. And research on neuroplasticity, how the brain can rewire itself.
And epigenetics, how our environment and behavior can actually affect our genes.
It's all showing how our thoughts can literally change our bodies.
That's wild.
And in monasteries, monks use practices like visualization, where they vividly imagine healing energy flowing through their body.
And mantra chanting, where they repeat specific sounds or phrases.
To cultivate positive mental patterns that can support physical healing.
So it all comes back to what we believe about our own bodies. Do we see them as fragile or resilient?
It's a big question to ask ourselves.
And a really powerful practice is to start each day with a positive affirmation.
Like saying, my body knows how to heal. I trust its wisdom.
Just repeating that can start to shift your mindset and create a sense of trust in your body's abilities.
Absolutely.
You mentioned earlier the power of stories, those amazing accounts of people healing themselves against all odds.
Yeah. Across history and cultures, you find these stories of people who've healed themselves through sheer awareness, breath work, and belief.
And there are even modern-day cases of what doctors call spontaneous remission.
Where people with serious illnesses just suddenly recover.
And often there's this shift in mindset that happens alongside it.
They move from fear and despair to a place of trust and hope.
So for someone listening who might be feeling overwhelmed, not sure where to start with all this.
What's a good first step?
Yeah, what can they do right now?
I think the most important thing is to just start. Even if it's just a few minutes each day, make time for stillness. Pay attention to your breath and practice deep, conscious breathing. Become aware of your thoughts and start to shift them towards a more positive, empowering place. And above all, trust in your body's ability to heal.
All right, so we are in the final stretch of this deep dive. And I think it all boils down to this one idea.
Awakening the healer within.
It's about realizing we already have everything we need to heal. It's not about searching for some external cure.
It's about removing the obstacles we've created and reconnecting with our own inner wisdom.
You talked about the art of letting go as a key to unlocking our healing potential.
Right.
And you shared the Zen parable about a master who asked his students to hold a teacup and then asked them how much it weighed.
The point wasn't about the actual weight, but how long they held on to it.
The longer they held on, the heavier it felt.
And that's how it is with our emotional pain.
We carry around these old hurts, these resentments, and they just weigh us down.
And Buddhist teachings say it's not the pain itself that causes the suffering, but our attachment to it.
The stories we keep telling ourselves about it.
And this isn't just a philosophical concept. There's actually research showing that chronic stress and unresolved trauma can lead to inflammation, weaken your immune system, and even increase your risk for chronic diseases.
So practices like forgiveness, non-attachment.
They're not just about inner peace. They can actually help free our bodies from the physical consequences of holding on to those negative emotions.
So if someone wants to start letting go of these burdens, what can they do?
A simple exercise is to find a quiet space, close your eyes, and bring to mind something you've been holding on to.
Okay.
A hurt, a resentment, a memory. Then take a deep breath in, acknowledging that feeling, and as you exhale, imagine releasing it. Let it drift away from you.
You can even repeat a phrase as you exhale, like, I release what no longer serves me.
It's a process, but each breath is a step towards freedom.
You also mentioned the power of simplicity in healing.
Yeah, there's this story about a monk who was asked about the secret to his long life and good health.
And his answer was so simple.
He said, when I eat, I eat. When I walk, I walk. When I sleep, I sleep.
That's it.
It seems almost too easy, but it speaks to this deep truth that we often complicate things unnecessarily.
It's like our modern world is all about more.
More possessions, more information, more to do.
But true healing often comes from simplifying.
Stripping things back to their essence.
And Buddhist philosophy really emphasizes minimalism, not just in our physical lives, but also in our minds.
Clearing out that mental clutter to make space for healing.
And monks often lead very simple lives. They eat whole, unprocessed foods. They keep their living spaces uncluttered. And they practice mindfulness in everyday activities.
And there's research showing how this kind of simplicity can reduce stress, boost your immune system, and even help you live longer.
So some simple things you can do are to simplify your diet, declutter your space, and practice being present in each moment.
Right, healing isn't always about adding more. Sometimes it's about taking away what's not needed.
And then there's this fascinating connection between having a sense of purpose and our ability to heal.
Right, it's like the Japanese concept of ikigai, that reason for being.
It's that thing that makes you jump out of bed in the morning.
And Buddhist philosophy also says that feeling disconnected or lacking purpose can lead to suffering.
And again, science backs this up. Studies show that people with a strong sense of purpose tend to have better health outcomes.
They have lower rates of heart disease, they recover faster from illness, and they even tend to live longer.
It's like having a purpose gives you this extra boost of energy and resilience.
Exactly. And when we engage in things that are meaningful to us,
Whether it's through work, creative expression, helping others.
it activates this healing energy within us.
So to tap into this, take some time to reflect on what truly matters to you, what gives your life meaning.
And make a conscious effort to engage in activities that align with that purpose.
I love that. Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive, we come to what I think is the most important step in this whole journey.
Trusting your body.
And you shared this really powerful analogy earlier about a disease being like a blocked river.
Yeah. Buddhist teachings say that healing isn't about forcing a cure, but about removing the obstacles that are blocking the body's natural flow.
So it's not about fighting against your body, but working with it.
Exactly. And our bodies are incredibly intelligent. They know how to heal.
But sometimes we get in the way.
With stress, with toxins, with self-doubt.
So this last step is all about letting go of that need to control everything and trusting in your body's wisdom.
A simple practice is to place your hand over your heart each morning and affirm, I trust my body's wisdom.
And to treat your body with respect.
With gratitude.
And to release that belief that healing has to be complicated.
Sometimes the simplest approach is the most powerful.
It all comes back to listening to your body and trusting that it knows what it's doing.
Exactly.
So to wrap things up, the takeaway here is that you already have everything you need to heal. You don't have to look outside yourself for answers.
The wisdom and practices of Buddhist monks, their connection to nature, their focus on simplicity and purpose, it's all about tapping into that inner power.
And the next time you're feeling out of balance, instead of immediately looking for a quick fix, take a moment to reflect on what you might need to let go of.
What you can simplify.
What truly matters to you.
Because healing is an inside job. It starts with listening to your body, trusting its wisdom, and believing in its incredible ability to heal itself.